Well, good evening, everybody. People who are remote and people here in the room. So, welcome to week 10. This is like, well, pretty much the end of this is the last formal lecture structured like this for the course. Next week is the final exam. Got a couple of things that I'd like to cover tonight. The first one will be Prime Minister's questions. Actually, it's been kind of quiet this week on the Slack, and that I don't know if that means that people are just doing fine on their Android projects, or maybe there's some questions that have been that you've been waiting to meet in person to discuss. So we'll definitely do that. We will talk about the final exam, which is everything we're doing next week during class. So we'll talk about all the details there. Then I want to spend my contribution, my lone contribution to the class will be doing some more Android development. We started a very simple calculator project last week. There are some augmentations that I want to make to it that will demonstrate things like working with multiple activities, writing and reading from a file, and also integrating the appointment classes into your projects. And so then I think that will take up, I don't know, probably the first couple hours of class, and then we'll spend the remainder of time doing our final kata. Oops, person who's in the waiting room. There we go. We'll do our final kata, and then call it an evening. What a nice evening it is. It's sunny. It's light out. Thank you, daylight savings time. I guess we get a little bit more time here in the evening. It's natural light. So let's dive into it. What can I tell you? What questions are on your mind? How are things going with your Android project? I know that a lot of people finished off their project 5, turned that in. Thanks for submitting that. And how are things going on project 6? I hope everybody has gotten their Android project at least running, and so they can have the emulator going and stuff like that. But what would people like to know about Android before we get started? Oh, question on zone date time. Yes. Okay. So the question is question about the zone date time object for project 6. Is it fine if we have a constant use for the time zone? I think you mentioned before we don't need to deal with time zone stuff on the project. You are correct. So choose whatever time zone you want, America, Los Angeles, or whatever, the time zone that presumably everybody here is in. Yeah, sorry. I think for next term, I'm going to replace zone daytime with local daytime and not worry about time zones. I don't think anybody's really getting anything from that, but that's a next time thing. This time, we'll just work with zone daytime. And yes, feel free to use whatever whatever time zone you'd like. Does not need to be displayed in the UI. But please don't. I don't have to scroll through a gazillion different time zones just to choose that. Good question, Cameron. Thanks. Any other questions about Android? I hope this is a sign that everybody has gotten started and is doing things. Yep, it's good. Okay, excellent, good. I never I never know exactly how people are going to find Android the first time they encounter it. I think most people are familiar enough with Java, familiar enough with IntelliJ that sort of the language and the IDE is too different. But boy, the code is something else and things like that. Okay, good. Yeah, and yeah, John says he's working with a calculator. Good. That's a good place to start. And I think now, unlike what we did with Project 5, I don't think there's going to be a nice, easy morphing of the calculator into what you're doing. So I think with that, you'll see the concepts of again working with multiple activities and persistent files and things like that. But we'll see. Okay. Nice. Yeah. Well, if there isn't anything else about Android, let's talk about the final exam. So next week is dedicated to the final exam. It will be the shortest class that we have. The final exam is in two parts. The first part is a written portion. It's basically two quizzes put together because it counts about as much as two quizzes put together. The questions will be a little harder, and they will be more holistic in nature. So it's, there's the topics that we covered, and any topic covered in the at all during the course, anything that there's a slide deck on is fair game. So and that, let's see here, I think it's 6 questions in like 40 minutes, and they're short answers. The written portion of the final exam is administered on Canvas. It just makes it easier for you to submit, easier for me to grade, and of course, it allows people to take it remotely. And then and that's worth 8 out of the 12 points for the final exam. And then the final 4 points of the final exam is a group activity. We'll probably have, I don't know, 2 groups, given the number of people in the class. Nora, I'll get to that question in a moment. There you'll be breaking up into small groups and having a conversation that will involve critical thinking and collaboration. There will not be coding. You've already done plenty of group coding in this class. So it won't be that. It'll be more about an activity that I hope will give you something interesting to think about as we end the course. So there's the question. That's the structure of the final exam. Like I said, the first part takes about 40 minutes. The second part takes, I don't know, 45. So the whole thing is in the 1.5 to 2 hour range. So we won't be going as late tonight. Oh, question, is the final closed book? The final is open book, open notes, but you can only use you can only use things that are hosted on like my website, meaning that you can look at the slides, you can, I don't know if the screencasts will help, I suppose you could use them, but you cannot look up answers from resources that I didn't create. I'll say that. So nope, can't use ChatGPT, can't be looking up answers on Google. It's essentially, imagine if you were here in the classroom and all you had were your class notes and the textbook. I suppose you could use a textbook also, if that helps. Oh, there's another student. So yeah, that's a good question. So and yes, the textbook is a fine resource to use. Don't know how helpful it'll be, but it's a fine resource. So yeah, basically anything that I provided you, but that does not include things like links off to Martin Fowler's site that talks about refactoring, right? So imagine that if you were here in the book, here in the classroom, and you had all the things that I provided you printed out. It's kind of like that. It's so different now. Anyway, teaching. So there's a question of where you can take the final exam. Now, let's be practical here. The final exam is administered over Canvas, and the group discussion is fine over Zoom. And there's only one person in the classroom tonight. I don't see any reason for people to drag themselves to campus for like 2 hours of mainly sitting there by yourself quietly and then maybe working in person with students. So how about we all agree to take it remotely? Is there anybody who like vigorously objects to taking the final exam remotely? Okay, good, thank you.
If I know I could attend tonight.
Yeah, right, yeah.
I feel bad for you, like you could be at home right now.
Yeah, well today, actually it's next week I want to be at home. So, okay, remote, this sounds great, okay. Excellent, and just to be clear, it's not they don't want to see you, and and by the way, in between the written portion and the group portion, I will have some final words to say. And it's thanks, John. And I hope it doesn't feel anticlimactic for anybody, but let's be honest, I really appreciated you all making the effort to come into the classroom when it was important, when we had those, experiencing pair programming in person, experiencing mob programming in person. I greatly appreciate that. You don't need to experience taking the final exam in person. And of course, Also, this means, please don't cheat, don't, resist the temptation to use resources other than the lecture notes and the content I have directly created. Great, okay, and just to be clear, the final exam happens during class time. I believe the D2L quiz opens up at 5:40 p.m. or something, so please don't be late. Everything is timed there in D2L. And again, you've got like 40 minutes to take it. That's usually fine.
Final clarification question,
Yep.
just because the calendar on Canvas is in fact a bit confusing. So it's got 7 p.m. final exam during class time. But it's also got this thing on Thursday
Yeah.
that says
that is due.
at noon.
Yeah, that is the
Group
portion. Yeah, the group
But there's
portion's due
nothing
at noon.
actually happening Thursday.
No, nothing is actually happening
Okay.
Thursday. No,
It's
no.
just weirdly.
Just nursing our hangovers? I don't know what we're doing. Yeah. So yes, sorry, yeah. So the you'll learn more about the group portion, but yeah, it's you do some stuff in class and then you'll submit the results of your discussion via email, and you have it until noon the next day in case it goes later or whatever, someone needs to do some wordsmithing and stuff the next morning. No big deal. However, the written portion of the individual portion of the final exam is from 5:40 until probably do it like, did I say 7? That doesn't seem right.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, it's like 40 minutes timed. So I'll probably adjust that over the weekend when I put the final polish on the final exam. So just to reiterate, next week, final exam during class time. Please arrive at 5:30. The final exam will open at 5:40. The individual portion lasts for about 40 minutes. Then I will say goodbye. We'll all sing It's So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday. And then we will have the group portion, and that'll be it. Also due next week is your project 6, your reflections on your mod programming, and the end of the term survey. I'm really curious to hear about what your experiences have been with the class now that you've reached the end, once you've reached the end of it. I thank you in advance for that feedback. And the individual portion is open notebook, which means any notes that you've taken and any content that I've created, such as the lecture notes, the PDFs that are on the website. And yes, you can reference those on the website. You don't need to print them out and kill a bunch of trees or something. And yes, it's okay to search in the PDF. However, please do not use any resources, online resources other than that. Maybe the screencast, but I don't know if you can find something in the video that quickly. So, okay, great. Any questions about the final exam? Okay, awesome. Okay, now let's do some Android. Okay, so last week we looked at an Android application that had a simple that was a simple calculator application.
Do you mind if I figure out how to turn this on?
Oh yeah, it's over there. Yes, yeah. Sorry, and
Yes.
dark mode is probably like impossible to read on that screen. Yep, and feel free to join the Zoom too if that makes it easier for you.
Let's see.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. Oh, here, let me go back to the text.
Okay, I can see now.
Is that good? Okay, good. I'm glad. Okay, so here we are running in the Android emulator, and we had a pretty simple functionality where you have one text field where you can enter one number, and then you can enter another number, and we click the equal sign. It prints the sum over here on the right. And we saw how to create this. Oh, let's see here. Question on Android. Is there any problems I might run into if I start with a very bare bones UI and want to modify it later once functionality is working? No, not at all. I think that is a perfectly fine way to do it. My approach to writing really any UI application is that, you write the UI objects first, then you create the objects and you arrange them, and then you come over to the back-end logic. And then once you have that working, if all you're doing is repositioning things, changing colors or styles or whatever, that's a really good optimization once you've demonstrated that everything's working. So yeah, that's totally cool to do it that way. And so anyway, so we have this, very simple UI here. Let's see here, how do I, oops, no, how do I minimize so we've got this here. And we walked through how this was implemented. And, one of the things that we saw with the, with Android is that it's got all these layouts. And let's see here, fragment first, I think is what we were looking at. And it has, there's this XML representation of the layout, and then there is this preview. WYSIWYG, what you see is what you get. Editor over here on the right. And we're using a particular layout called the constraint layout. And it was kind of hard to use, right? You saw me like fumbling, trying to get all the anchors set correctly. And I think a couple people chimed in during the week saying, yeah, that is really hard to use. And so what I did, I don't know, over the weekend last night sometime, was I modified it to use a different layout that I think will work better. So let's see here. I think it was easier to walk through it with you. So I made some changes here. And if you'll recall, I don't know, there was like some sort of like scroll bar thing up at the top. I went and changed that, and I changed the XML. So one of the things is just my practical experience. Maybe it's because I'm not advanced enough with the tools or whatever. But I've found that while the layout renderer over on the right, the WYSIWYG editor is good for some things. There are other times where we seem to dive into the XML and sort of like, push things around that way, get it arranged the way you want in a way that makes sense. Use the preview over on the right to make sure that it still looks reasonable. And then also use the editor over here to make little tweaks and stuff. Like for instance, one of the things I did was like when I wanted to center the text here in this text editor, I went and I looked at the attributes, and then I did a quick search for anything that has a line in it. Oh yeah, right. It's called text alignment. I could set it to center very easily, and then I would see the change reflected over here in the XML. So the change that I made is that I made the constraint layout like the top level, the top level widget in this UI, and I like that because I want this to be kind of simple. But there are some nice things about the constraint layout, or is the constraint layout arranges things nicely once you get it to work. So what I've found is that, hey, when we've only got a couple of widgets, or when we've only got a couple of widgets to lay out, constraint layout is sufficient. You can sort of get it to work. But something a little bit more complex, like the calculator widgets here, I decided to use a linear layout. Now, a linear layout is just a standard, it's one of the standard, actually one of the original layouts, and it just arranges its child widgets in a row, left to right. And so then inside of that, I have one edit text field, which is the left operand, and then I have that text view, which contains the plus sign. And then I have another edit text, which is the right operand. Right, I had these before, but now they're inside this linear layout. And also, let's see here. Anyway. And you can see I have things like, the input type is a number, and I've aligned the text in the center. I think it looks better. Then I have the button, and then I have the other text. I have the other text view, which displays the sum. Although it's it's kind of invisible the way it is, and so hey, if I wanted to tweak with it, I could probably put a line under, a box around it, or something like that. I'm at the moment I'm not going to go into that kind of detail. And as you can see, this is just, I think it's just simpler and easier to use. You don't have to deal with all of these layout constraint, bottom, top, left, right, all that kind of stuff. It just sort of it worked out better this way. So I'm much happier with this layout. It seems simpler and easy to use. We'll see though, because we will be making some changes to this and some changes and adding a new activity. So I think this will serve us well though. And as you can see, when you run it, it seems pretty straightforward. So Now I made a bunch of notes of things that I want to do. So I'm going to be referring to those. So now I'm going to walk you through some evolutions that I want to make to the appointment book Android app, so that we can see some more things that Android is capable of. The first thing I want to do is take a look at some of these yellow underlines here in the XML. Now, this one is complaining about a hard-coded string, and it's saying, oh yeah, I should use an @string resource. We saw this last week, but I wanted to reemphasize it. So display strings like plus and equals, it's bad practice, it's gauche, to have hard-coded strings, especially words like English words, in XML, because it can't be localized, right? Or it's more difficult to localize it. You need to extract it out. So there's a very nice fixer thing here in IntelliJ, or here in Android Studio. So I just did it displayed it over there. But what it'll do is it will extract. Oh, there it is. I see. It's not. Let's kind of plus it. Oh, there we go. Extract string resource. Yeah, it's a little laggy right now. So I'm going to extract that plus sign into a resource called plus. And it's going to put it in the strings.xml file in source main res. And yeah, just in the values. Okay, and now it's happy, no more yellow underlines. Similarly, I'm going to extract this string resource, and I'm going to call it equals. Now notice I've got a couple of, well, let's see here, and I'm just going to drill into this string right here, and there's this big old file called strings, which also has this lorem there, but two new entries have been added. You can tell they've been added because they have a green bar over here in the margin, which says these are a line modification. One for plus and one for equals. And so then, one can imagine that this is the strings, the default locale, but you can have strings.xml files for different locales as well. So that was a change that was made there. And notice that I've got a couple of things called equals. There's this @string equals, and then there's this plus this @plus ID equals. So every widget every widget in a layout has an ID associated with it. This is this is the thing that usually identifies it in the application. And when I declare a new widget here in my my layout XML file, if I say Android:ID equals @+ID/equals, this will create a new ID object basically for called equals, and the ID of this button will be equals. And we'll see how that ID is referenced in Java code. But I'm trying to think if we have an example. I guess I don't here. But you can also reference widgets by their ID in the XML. So let's say that you've got a text field and you've got a label associated with that text field. It's like, first name, text field. You can make that association via the ID. You would say that that text field has, edit text is associated with the label, or the label is a label for the text editor, and you use the IDs to refer to it that way. Okay, so that's cool. I'm going to check that in real quick. Let's see here. Extract string constants from layout XML files. Yeah. So that was sort of a nice little hygiene refactoring, makes IntelliJ happy. Looks like it's still complaining about other things, but it's probably accessibility labels and stuff. That's nice. If I was making a real application, I would do that, but there are other things I want to focus on tonight. Now, in our Android application, there is this, there's something called an activity, which I always think of as representing like a screen in the application, right? You might have multiple screens that you go through in your application, and each screen has its layout and has its components and things like that. And there is, sorry, let me navigate to it. There is there's the main activity class, which is the Java code that that backs the main activity. And so this is the thing that displays the right fragments, and this is where we did things like we added the tab. Oh, okay. This is something else. We then and just the same way that first fragment has this that has it registers on click listeners the equals button in the calculator. Now, this is what came out of the box, and I have to admit, I'm not terribly, having this main activity with fragments is not really what I want. Fragments are nice, but it's not something I'm terribly familiar with, and something like when I think about what's in the lectures is a focus on that. So I kind of want to I kind of push this fragment stuff off to the side, and I want my main activity. Besides, I want my main activity to display some other things eventually. What I want is I want this calculator to actually be on a second screen, and I want the first screen to display, well, eventually what we'll do is that we'll eventually display all of the sums that have been computed so far. So that's what we're trying to get to tonight, where we actually have two screens, we have our two activities. The first one is just sort of like this landing, home page where it's like, great, here's all the sums you've entered so far, and then a button that goes off and launches the calculator. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to develop this incrementally. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new activity which will which will be the calculator. And so I'll move all the stuff that's in this current activity off into a new activity. And then I will have a then I will change the main activity to have a button that launches the calculator and then a list of all of the sums that have been entered so far. So the first thing I need to do is create a new activity. Now I could create a new Java file, a new XML file, but actually Android Studio has a way of doing that. It's really easy. Just go into the new menu, and I'm just going to open up the gallery to see all the new things, all the new activities. And they have a whole bunch of things coming out of the box, everything from like, oh, look, nice navigation stuff to like Google Maps or Google Pay. That's kind of neat, but I just want an empty activity. I'm just going to have something very simple. And this is, I'm going to call this calculator activity. And it is not, let's see here, it's not a launcher activity. I think, oh, what does that mean? It says that it is, yeah, okay. It's not something that you launch from the main screen. I'm going to create that activity. And in doing so, oh, it popped up something. Wow. Oh, there we go. I was just thinking about it. It's going to generate some source code. Oh, did it generate it in Kotlin? Oh, give me a break. No, I don't want you to generate it in Kotlin. I want you to generate it in Java. Really? Android? We're just going to revert all these changes plus. Well, I guess I'll revert these changes and delete the other ones. So revert these changes. Yes, please revert. Roll back all those changes. And my goodness, yeah. Delete all those. Let's try this again. So can I not create? Oops. Oh, sorry, it's still thinking about it apparently. Okay. Okay. Ooh, uh-oh. That is not looking too happy right there. Why can't we find all these? I wonder what I did. keep going. I probably just need to resync everything or something. The Gradle project. There we go. Now it's happier. And there again, it's all that red, and I got a little scared there. Okay, now my Gradle project or my IntelliJ project seems a little happier. Remember what Gradle is? Gradle is the build tool that Android uses. And just the same way that sometimes you need to, resynchronize your Maven projects, same thing for Gradle. Okay, let's try a new activity. So let's see here. It might be that empty activity, you can't do it in Java anymore. So let's just do, I wonder what empty views activity is. Let's see next. Well, here you go. Now I can change it. Now I can select the source language. Okay. Find calculator activity. Oh, okay, activity calculator, blah, 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 source language Java. Thank you. Okay, yes, please add those files to get. So it created some new files. It created a new Java file for the activity, and it created a new XML file for the layout of the activity. So that's good. So let's see what that looks like. Okay, so it gave us some boilerplate like this edge to edge. I have no idea what all this stuff is. That seems okay. Let's see what it looks like. Well, that's pretty empty right there. Nothing wrong with that. Cool. Okay. So now what I want to do is I'm going to move all the stuff related to the calculator into this guy. So I'm going to take, let's see, I guess the fragment first. And honestly, I'm just going to copy and paste all this stuff. Just copy that and go to the calculator. Let's look at the XML. Yeah, it's just basically an empty thing. I do want to retain that context though. So okay, actually, so now I'm going to be a little bit more judicious about what I copy over. Some of the stuff I do want to keep. Yeah. So then I want to keep, I guess, all this stuff up here. I'll just copy some of that stuff. Actually, what I can do, I'm just going to go to XML only view, and I'm going to put the calculator next door. I'll try it. Put the calculator next door. Split and move right. Oh, good. This will make it much easier. So now let's see here. I just want to, let's see here. Tools. It's interesting that it's got an ID of main. No, that's okay. Okay, match parent. I want this to be calculator activity. Great. But now everything else here, I'm just going to copy and put over there. Actually, just cut and put over there. I do that instead. I'll cut that over here. Put this over there. And nice. So now if I go and I go into design mode, and the fact that, see here, move up to group. There we go. Now it's big enough. Well, that still looks pretty good. And okay, well, that's cool. Now, things won't build though, because I still have, well, or do I? All that stuff in first fragment? Nope, it is not happy about all these because now, oh yeah, right, because all of this code really needs to go in the calculator class. And I'm just going to do things a little bit differently this time. So yeah, let's just go back to the calculator activity. And on create, it goes and, okay, let's just walk through what this is. So on create is a method that is invoked when the activity is created, displayed for the first time. And so then it calls it super on create to initialize stuff that it inherited from its super class. I don't honestly, I don't know what this edge to edge thing is all about. That's new to me. It's probably something new in the store. in the API. It's pretty cool. But this set content view is pretty important. This is the thing that associates the content, the XML, from the activity calculator with this activity. And what it does here is that it says r.layout.activity calculator. And this is actually a reference off to this XML file. And Android Studio lets you navigate easily just by clicking on activity calculator, and here you are in that XML file. Again, looking like that. And then it does this unapply window insets listener thing, which again, I'm not familiar with, but I'll take its word for it. That's a good thing. So this is the thing that sets up, sort of like initializes. It's not so much a constructor as it is, hey, this object has just been created. Because one of the things I talked about in the Android lecture is how the Android runtime is very judicious about how it allocates memory and what it does. And so then the Android runtime may choose to keep to cache the calculator activity around for a while. You don't have as much control over the life cycle of the activities and other Android objects as you may in other as a Java program, and that's okay. But it's something you need to be aware of as you are coding. So here, yeah. So this thing is this is a fragment, so this thing's different. I'm just going to get rid of this, I guess. So instead of having like all these bindings and stuff, I'm going to do things a little bit differently. So we still have a lot of the same concepts where we have, oh, sorry, there was something else I want to talk to you about. But we're going to do the same thing. We are going to go get a reference to the equals. Actually, we're not going to do that. We're going to, well, what we're going to do now is we're going to hook up the UI components here to the calculator activity. So I'm going to, actually, let's do it from here. Now, in the first fragment here, and sorry I'm jumping around so much, I went and got a reference to the equals object through the binding, and I called the set on click listener. And this is a cool way to do it in Java code. We use this little lambda here for that, but there's another way to specify the click listener for a button, and that's by doing it in the XML itself. So here in the equals method, I want to say no, I should just call it on click or something. Oh, it's deprecated? Really? Why is it that? No, it's not deprecated. No, maybe it is. What was it complaining about? Oh, it can't be empty. Great. So what this does is it specifies here's the method to invoke when the button is clicked. And so we'll just say, I don't want to call it equals so much as I want it to say compute sum. And now it's yellow because it's saying, I don't know about that method. Well, I'm like, how about you create that method? So I will ask it to create a method in the calculator activity. Yes. And so now this method is called when the button is clicked, when the equals method is clicked. Now in here, what I want to do is I want to get a reference to two operands. In the fragment code, I use the binder. Here, I'm going to use a different API. I'm going to say, what is it? Get view by ID, view by, oops. Sorry, I need to go look this up here on my notes, which maybe I have notes for. Oh yeah, find view. That's what it is. Find view by ID. And now it takes an int, and the int is a reference to its ID. And then I'm going to use this R again. And here I'm going to say r.id. And here I'm going to say the left operand. So R is actually a class. It's like this magic class that's generated by Android. And it gives you, basically has a bunch of little variables that correspond to things like information about the layouts, the IDs in the various layouts, and this is how you get stuff. And this is how you get stuff in Java. So now I'm going to, I'm going to put this in a variable called left. Oops, I don't want it to be a view, I want it to be a button. So I'll cast it, I guess. Maybe I'll cast it. I guess I won't, or I do. Oops, button. What doesn't it like? I think it doesn't class. Oh, edit text. Sorry, confused. It even tells me I was using the wrong type, which is nice. So red lines all over the place. So I'm going to get a reference to the left operand. I'm going to get the reference to the right. And it is, boy, it is aggressive about telling me that things aren't correct. That's good. Okay. And now I'm going to go get the text values for both of those. So left text equals left dot, oops, what was it? It was dot get text dot toString. That get text dot toString. The same thing for right. And then this is right dot get text dot toString. And now I'm going to compute the sum. So integer dot parsent left text plus integer dot parsent right text. And now I'm going to display that in the find. Oops. So now I'm going to display it in the sum field, and it's going to be r.id.sum. And then that is going to be a view. It's going to be a text. Sorry, I can't remember the names of the types of things. It is a text view. Text view. Oops, this is going to be view by ID. I'm going to call it sum field. I get it there, and now I'm going to set the text. To string dot value of. So this is just another way to implement the stuff that we did here in the fragment. I am just going to delete all this now because this is a file. I'm gonna have some dead code here. We can remove it later. But again, here's what we did. We're building our calculator. We're refactoring our calculator to be implemented slightly differently. And now the button uses this compute sum method to compute this instead of having to like set the listener up here on the onCreate. Just a different way of doing it. Okay. Okay, so I think my calculator is okay. But I can't get to it. I mean, actually, does everything build right now? I don't know. Let me see. While this is building, any questions about this? How did I clear the errors in the first fragment? I deleted the code. Although maybe I don't understand the question, John. Which errors are you talking about? Okay, yep. Right, because it doesn't have the binder, but because I moved the widgets out of the first fragment XML, the binder couldn't find them anymore, which is fine. It's what I want to do. And so then, yeah, it doesn't have those objects to manipulate anymore. Okay, so it's gone and it's relaunching the app. Kind of a big change, so it might take a little longer the first time. I should sort of see an empty screen here. And maybe this is what I'm seeing. Yeah, there's like, oh, there we go. Yeah, there's nothing here anymore. Although I don't know if that's what I'd expect. Yeah, I guess it is. I guess it is. Yep, that's cool. Okay, because if I go and I look at the main activity, I go look at it in preview mode. It just says, actually, it's probably not even that. It is just go to the activity. Main activity. Yeah, it's got all this stuff. I'm going to delete again. This stuff like isn't so interesting to me anymore. So I'm going to go back. Let's see. Do I want to save things? Yeah, I'm not quite ready to commit. This is kind of a big change. And this is really my whole realization where it's like, yeah, all this stuff with like the binding and the app bar configuration, a little more than I want in my app. You can have it in yours. You can get things to work fine. But I think in order to keep us focused, I'm gonna delete a bunch of this stuff. So I'm going to go back to my main activity, and here, yeah, I don't want like this coordinator layout, and yeah, all this stuff seems a little much right now. So instead, I'm going to use a constraint layout again. I'm going to replace the XML with, well, that, but it's still going to be main activity. Activity main, I'm going to, actually, here's what I can do. I can just go back over here and copy everything. Oops, yeah. So copy that. And then go to main activity and replace it with this. I think it'll be okay. And then just delete everything else. Yep, and then just end the XML. Okay, so now it's empty. So actually, I'm just gonna, well, we're gonna relaunch that. Yeah, I might. Again, I'm sort of, that template, I'm not super happy with this template and the fact that I can't create, oh yeah, main activity, I guess. Yeah, let's just blow all this stuff away too. We don't need it anymore. It's kind of a bummer that oops. That that very simple template can't be created for Java anymore. I don't know why they took that out. I think the Android folks really like Kotlin and probably want to move people towards it. But sorry, this isn't like this isn't a Kotlin course. It's a Java course. I want to be able to do Java stuff. So I'm just going to delete all this stuff. And here I want the content view to be is going to be yeah, the layout. So r.layout.activity main, which basically this will associate this activity with the activity main XML. Oh, good, it's been better. Okay, everything built. Okay. So now what I've got, oops. Yep, I have a very empty activity, right? Nothing is being displayed yet. So let's put some stuff in there. Now I want my activity main right now to be very simple. Really, all I want there to be is a button that when I click it, I want to launch the other activity. So I've got two activities, and I want one to launch the other one. So I'm going to add, so we're going to just go into full display mode or full that. I'm going to add a button. And I'm going to call it, I'm going to give it some text. Maybe I can't. Yeah. I'm going to constrain it so it's in the middle. So I think this will work okay it's so simple. Constrain on all sides. Nice. Okay, so that looks nice and constrained. And I don't know, I could edit the text from here. I could just say attributes, search for text. Instead of saying button, say, display calculator. And then it complains that it's not in a resource. So now I think I can change that. Can I change that from here? Can I fix it from here? Oh, why not? Well, let me fix it. Come on, Android Studio. Okay, fine. I'll go to XML and fix it there. Sure, that looks good. Okay. Nice. Okay. So now I've got that, and sure, I'll just run it so that we can see that now it displays a button. I hope it displays in the middle of the screen. I think I got the constraints right, but I never know. This is one of the things I like about Android is they can get really fast feedback. I gotta admit, overall, the deployment cycle is pretty quick. Great. I've got a display calculator button there in the middle of the screen. Now when I click on it, it doesn't do anything because I didn't tell it to do anything, so it's told to do something. Let's put it on click. And not compute sum. I want to say display calculator. And once again, I'll have it created in the main activity. So this is the code that's invoked when you click that button, display the calculator. So here's how you go from one activity to another activity. This is a very important concept in Android, and I go into it a lot in the lecture. The whole idea is that each of these activities is kind of its own independent component in the in the Android program, in the app that you have. And more so, activities can be launched from outside of the app. Right? We've all done it on our phones, where it's like, great, I want to, I'm looking I'm watching a video, and now I want to share it with someone, or I want to like send an email with to someone with a link to it, and then it opens up your email application. Well, this is all made possible by this abstraction of having activities and this thing called an intent that you launch, or that you send to an activity, or say, hey, there's an intent that I have that I want to that I want to perform. So for instance, hey, I want to edit an image, or I want to view a PDF file or something like that. An application just says, hey, listen, operating system, the user has expressed an intent to view a PDF document. Please go do that. Can you do that for me? And it's really then up to the operating system to figure out which of the apps that are installed on the device can handle that. Right? Again, we've all seen this, where it's like you go to do something, and then it pops up. It's like you want to browse a web page. Oh, and maybe you have multiple web browsers that are installed on your phone. And it's like, hey, do you want to pop it up in this web browser or the other web browser? This is and in Android, the way that you tell the phone to do something, or how you pass information between activities, is something called an intent. So I'm here in the main activity, and I want to launch the calculator activity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an intent. There we go. And intent constructor has several things. And one of them is this constructor right here, where you take a package context and the name of a class. The context in this case is just going to be this activity that I'm launching it from. And then the class will be the name of the class of the activity that I want to launch. It'll be calculator activity.class. So this is an object that basically says, yeah, go launch the calculator activity in the same application. And the way, so that creates the intent to do so, and then you say start activity, just one of them, and then you pass it the intent. I think that's all you need to do. So let's take a look. Oops, and looks like somebody asked a question, or maybe not. No, I just probably hit the top of the screen. Cool. Okay, so now I will launch that again. So I basically wrote some code that handles a click to that button, and when the button is clicked, what it should do is launch the calculator activity. Let's see if it works. Okay, click this, and there it is. Oh, good. Now we've got our calculator. And actually, we haven't checked to see if this all works. So 5 plus 11 equals 16. Yay. Okay, it still works. Okay, this is cool. And so this is how you work with multiple activities, and how you send things back and forth with this intent. Let's see, I think if I go back, it'll send me back to the previous activity. Will it? Yeah, it does. Okay, that's kind of neat. So I'm going to commit this, and while I'm doing that, are there any questions that I can answer about what we just saw? So what we did is we added a new calculator activity. That is launched by the main activity. The main activity, well, launched by a new button. No, button enough. Push that up to GitHub. Okay. Now I've got two screens in my application, and I can go back and forth between the two. As a matter of fact, so let's see here. I think that's everything I want to cover there. Yeah, so that's the next thing I want to do. I want to add a new button to the calculator because right now it's not easy for me to go back because I have to use like the back arrow and that's or the back button on the phone, and that's kind of awkward. So what I want to do is I want to add a new button here that simply goes back, and I'll do that real quick. So I will go to the, actually, let me close some of these. I don't need anymore. I don't need that. Actually, delete these things. I could do that. So I'll go to the calculator activity here, and I'm going to add a new button. Let's give it a little bit more space here. Great. I'm going to add, zoom in a little bit. I'm going to add a new button right here, and I'm going to anchor it. Let's see here. I want to change the anchor to this guy to be anchored to the bottom of here instead. And then this guy's going to be anchored here. Constraint layout is fine when your layout's simple. And so this seems to be working okay now. Okay, so that button, oh, this doesn't, that didn't, oh, interesting. Well, it'll just be a fixed height, I guess. That's okay. Okay. And then here, I'm gonna give this one an ID. I'm gonna call it back to main. And then I want to can't change the text very easily. Okay, let's again do the rename ID resource and its usages to back to main. Yes, please refactor that. Oh, I need to. Okay, cool. And now we'll look at the text. Instead of button, we'll just say back to main. Nice. And there's a complaint that it's hard to put a text. Can I just fix it from here? Extract from resource. Thank you. Back to main, back to main. Great. Okay. So now I've got this, and let's just run it one more time to make sure that it looks okay. Display calculator, and now I've got it back to main, and when I click it, it does nothing. So let's make it do something. Now, again, I'm going to go to this button here, which is back to main, and I'm going to add an on-click. And so when this button is clicked, I'm going to say back to main. And this is going to be a new method that I'll create in the calculator activity. Now, when an activity is done, you call a method called finish. And what this does is just, okay, this activity is done, and then go back to the last activity on the stack, essentially, right? There's this whole, I've navigated all these activities, and you just go to the next one on the top of this. You just pop the current one off the stack, and then you view the next one behind it. Display calculator. Back to main. Here we are, display calculator. Great, okay. Super exciting, navigation. Baby steps here, right? That's what we're taking right now. Okay, so I'm gonna commit this, and I'm gonna say navigate back to the main activity from the calculator activity. Great. Push that up. Okay. Now, it's neat to go to an activity, you need to go back, but oftentimes you've got activities that create some piece of data that the one that launched it wants. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change it so that when I compute a sum, 4 plus 5 equals 9, and when I click back to main, I want it to send that value 9, the current sum, back to the main activity, and we'll pop up a toast with the value that was that was there in the sub. That's what I want to have happen. So now we got to see how to pass data back and forth among activities. Now things get a little bit more complex. So here in back to main, in addition to just finishing this, I want to, I basically want to say that this activity that's finishing, it has a result, right? So I did some of this activity, and now here's a piece of data that, that I can send back. And the way I do that is I call this thing, I use an intent, I use an intent to express the result of the activity. So I make an intent. And this intent, because it's just passing data, we don't have any parameters to it. It doesn't really do anything. It just hosts some data. Because intents have these things called put extra. Oops, there we go. Put extra. And as you can see, there's a bunch of key value pairs. So the extra has a name, like here's some extra data, and it's got this value. The name of this is going to be, I'm going to call it some value. And this is going to be a constant that I create here. Oh yeah, now it's going to have a value. So sorry, I got to create the constant here in calculator activity. I'm just going to call it, I don't know, some. I'm going to make it package protected because actually I'm going to use it in a different class, as we'll see here shortly. And now I need a value here. And so because it's an object and the object stays alive the entire time it's on screen, I'm going to store the sum, not just in a local variable here, but now I'm going to put it in a field. So I'm going to create this field called sum. It's going to be an int. And say it can be a local variable. Yeah, thank you. And now I'm going to put that sum in the intent. So this is the payload of the intent, essentially. So it's like, okay, here's like, you know, these intents are meant to be sent back and forth in between activities. And so it does that. So, okay, cool. And now I have that intent. And before I finish, I want to set the result of yeah, I want to set the result of this activity that is closing. And there's this constant called result okay. Oops. Yep. For that. And then it can also pass in the intent back in the result. And basically what this does is it says, hey, here's the value. Maybe I could have done this also in the other method, but I like doing it here. It's like, here's the result of this activity, sort of stash it away and then finish it. And so then when the activity finishes, this result is available to the code that called it. So the next thing we need to change is we need to change the main activity to the following. So instead of starting the activity, we need to start the, we need to, well, actually, sorry, there's something else that we need to do first. No, actually, but we'll do this here. So start activity for result. Apparently it's deprecated, but still works. And the request code, right. So when we're launching the activity here, when we click that go to calculator button or whatever it's called, and we're not only saying that here's the activity to go launch the calculator, sorry, here's only the intent to launch the activity. There's also this thing called a request code, which is basically an int, it's a magic number that that specifies what it is that we're requesting for the from the activity that's being launched. So I'll just call it something like get sum, which is what the activity does. And here I need to create a constant for that. I just need to give it a number, like 42. Why not? And so now I'm starting the activity in a special way. I'm going to launch it here. It's not going to, I don't expect it to work yet, but I kind of want to, well, I want to demonstrate to you that it doesn't work. Because what we're doing is we're saying, yes, go start that activity, but we're not doing anything with the value that's returned. Let's see here. That's, yeah, I think it launched it. So now we can put in some numbers. We get 9. We go back to main. It doesn't do much of anything with it because it doesn't handle the return value. The way that you handle a return value is in a method called onActivityResult. Activity results. Nope. Oh wait, what am I doing here? I'm overwriting. Sorry, I used the wrong keyboard shortcut. I want to say refactor override. How do I specify method to override? Well, anyway, at override and public void on activity results. Ooh, not good. Please tell me what the extract method to interface. No. Sorry, I need to figure out the how do I override? I just don't know the keyboard shortcut.
It has to be above.
But oh no, that's good. Actions, override methods. Oh, control O, fine. On activity results. Okay. So this is a method that is invoked on the activity when you start an activity for a result and the activity that you launch returns a result. Okay. It passes in the request code, which is like one of these get some things, the result code, which was that okay that I specified over in this code, that result okay, that is the sorry, let me just get rid of more of these. Oh, all my classes are on the screen now. And then also an intent that was passed in with the data. So this is actually all the stuff, well, most of the stuff that we specified over here, like the code and the intent gets delivered to this on activity result method right here. We keep the call to super.onActivityResult, just in case there's any bookkeeping that needs to be taken care of by the super class. And then we do some checks to make sure to see if the activity result is the one we want. So if the request code equals get some, and if the result code equals, let's see here, oh wait, no, this was okay. Result okay. And the data is not null, then let's do something with that. But I see there's a question. How did you do the on-activity result? Ah, thanks for asking about that. There is, and I don't know where it is in the menu, so I apologize. There is an override method, and it's Control O for me. Is it under navigate? No, I just don't see it. So it's, I don't know, buried here somewhere. Oh yeah, there it is, override methods. First one in code. So what I did is I overrode the method. Anyway, I said override method, and then I typed the name of the method so that it would filter out. So on activity results, and you know what? It's not letting me do it because I already overrode it. But yeah, that's how I found it, and I just clicked OK to do it. Sorry, that was super fast of me. Thanks for asking a clarifying question. Did that answer the question, Sharon?
Yes, thank you.
So, okay. So basically, if the activity result that we're receiving is for the get some code and it was okay and there wasn't data there, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the piece of data that I want. So the sum, it comes from the intent, actually which is called data, dot get extra. get int extra. And the name comes from the activity, so that was the calculator activity. And the sum value, and then okay, so the default value, okay, fine. So then default value of, I don't know, 0. Nice. So I'm going to get the sum, and now I'm just going to put it in a toast. Remember where these toasts are? It's this little widget thingy. And the text is going to be got some of sum. And I want a long toast. I'll pop that up. Okay. Now let's redeploy it. Okay, so now I say display calendar. I do 33 plus 55 equals 88. I return to main, and there's my toast. Got sum of 88. So what I just demonstrated here is passing data, well, launching a new activity, having the activity do some work, create something, and then pass it back to the activity that called it. And the way you achieve this is by using intents and by starting activity for a result and then handling the result by overriding on activity result. So while I'm committing this, I want to do a check for understanding, so see if there's any other questions. And I also want to ask, is this an okay pace? I know I'm going pretty fast, but I want to make sure that people understand. Okay, question. Okay, yeah, okay. Thanks for listening along. I know that there's probably more questions we'll just start doing for yourself. And okay, yeah, and I know, and so following along in real time, brave person for doing that, because yeah, I'm going super fast, and you know, I've done this a couple times before. So if things aren't making sense in real time, that's okay. Yes, go back and watch the lecture.
Is your code for this available?
It totally is. Yeah, it's up on my it's up on my GitHub. Jeez. GitHub. It's not the cause repository, it's just a regular repository, the important say Java winter 2024. Yep. And somehow the letter pi got in there. That's interesting. No, we can go. Well, and we're about to take a break. So go recharge your laptop, go recharge yourself. Let's take 12 minutes. At 6:55, we'll come back. And there, let's see here. Yeah, we've done this. And so now the next thing is we are going to display all of the recently returned sums in a list. So a little preview of coming interactions. I don't know. We'll see you at 6:55. Okay, well, we are back. So at the beginning of class, we made some evolutions to the application. We started off by doing some refactoring. Well, I improved the layout a little bit, simplified things, took out those fragments and things that really aren't so relevant here anymore. And so now what we've got is an Android application where you click display calculator, it displays a new activity with a calculator. And you know, the calculator has the you know, the ability to compute the sum of two numbers. And then it's got this back to main. And when you click back to main, what it does is it takes the sum and sends it back to the main activity. And the main activity pops it up in a toast down here at the bottom. So we've seen how to send data back and forth between the two activities, and we use that intent object to do that. So now what I want to do is I want to have on this main activity, in addition to the display calculator button, I also want to have a list of all the sums that we've calculated. So after every time you display the calculator and it computes a sum, I want to add that sum to a running list. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a widget to the main activity that will display those sums. And I'm going to use a widget called, actually, let me go to the main activity. And I'm going to go to the layout mode. I'm going to close the commit here. And I'm also going to close also down below. In addition to display calculator, I'm going to search for, it's called what, a list view? Yes, a list view. And this is one of the widgets I talk about in the lecture. And let's see here. I want this guy all the way up to the top. And I now want, oops, I want this guy anchored to the list view. What happened there? Cool. And so then let's put this here and then make the list view bigger. Nope. Well, actually, I do want to have it anchored down here, I guess. And but then I want to make it bigger. I think you do like this. Yep, there we go. So the whole idea is I'll have like a whole bunch of items in here. And actually, oh, I didn't anchor it left and right, so I should probably do that. No, actually, do I need to do that? Yeah, anchor it left and right here. Now let's see how this looks when I launch the application. It'll probably be super ugly and tweak a couple things. But the light out. Yay. Okay, so I got a display calculator up here, and I don't know, is there a list? Well, there's nothing in the list, so it's kind of hard to see. So maybe this isn't super useful yet. Okay, so I've got this list view here in my, wait, I don't know, that still doesn't look anchored to me. I worry. Just make it a little smaller, and then I'll anchor it, and I'll make it bigger again. Oh, maybe it is anchored. I don't know. Is it? Yeah, I guess it is anchored. Okay. That is good. And I'll also make this a little bigger here. Oops. Oh, interesting how it resizes. Okay. Cool. Okay. So I'm pretty happy with that. Now I've got this list, this list view here, and now I want to do something with it. I want to, I'm going to go to my code, my main activity. Now I'm going to do something with the list view. Now, a list view, as you learn about in the lecture, is this widget that displays a whole bunch of data. Well, a list of data, and the data is modeled by a list, a Java list. So here's what I'm going to do. When we create our main activity, I'm going to get a handle to that list view. I'm going to call it sums equals, I'm going to call it list. A sums list. There you go. Sums list. And this is going to be a find by view ID r.id. Oh, I didn't give it a name. Oopsie. I'm going to call it sums. And then I'm going to go give it an ID over here. And I'm going to call it list view. I'm going to call it sums. So rename it. Great. Now is my activity happier? Oops. Oh no, it found it. Okay. So Bryce hasn't all something in it. Or maybe it's complaining about something else. Like, well, it should. Press Static import, nope, okay. That's funny, because Android certainly thinks so. Okay, well, we'll see, actually, does this build? If it does, then we're probably okay. Yep, it did, okay. I built it and I was happy there. Okay, so I've got my widget, which is the list view. And so what I'm going to do with that widget now is I'm going to populate its, I'm going to populate the model that underlies it. And so you can read about this, or you can see this in the lecture. There's something called an array adapter. And this will be an array adapter of integers that, yeah, let's call this sums. Which will hold all of the hold all of the ints that are, the sums that are returned by that widget. So the context is going to be this activity, and it takes this resource ID that it uses to display the actual row. And this is a little piece of magic here. This is just sort of like a, believe me that this works. There's a special R class called Android.R, which is resources that are global to like the runtime, not just your application. And there's a particular one called, so I got my notes here, simple list item one. Simple, oops, did I not get it right? I spelled Android right. Oh, dot layout, that's why. Layout dot simple list item one. Cool. That basically is, I think it was a prototype widget that's used in each cell of the list. And then it's, let's see here, what does it need now? It needs, a bunch of objects, a list of objects. And so now, well, let's have a list of objects. And we'll call this, okay, I want to change this around a little bit. Oh, no, I guess I don't. And I'm just going to say that, yeah, this is a new list of integers. Actually, no. Stop. Sorry. It's not what I meant. New array list. There we go. Nice. Now I've got this adapter, and so I'm just going to populate it with some stuff. So sums dot, it behaves like a list. So I can say add. Actually, I'm just gonna add some for I 0 while I is less than 10. I'm just gonna add some numbers to this just so we can see what it looks like once it's populated. So yeah, so basically I've got this this adapter, and then I say sum list dot set adapter to be sums. Nice. And so this is what's called the model that underlies it. So this holds all of the data, and then the sums list, the list view renders that data. So I populated it with the integers 1 through 10. And now when I run it, cool. Now this list has the numbers 1 through 10. Or 0 through 9, sorry. 0 through 9. That's not exactly what we want, but this is a good stopping point. I'm going to commit this. So added a list view that displays the numbers 0 through 9. Now, we don't want this list to display 0 through 9. We want it to display the sums. So we don't, populate it here anymore. Instead, we want to populate it, well, down in this on activity result. So instead of my toast, in addition to my toast, well, I'm still working on it. I want to add this sum that came in from the calculator activity to that list of sums. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this into a field with extract field. Just keep it called sums, initialize it in the current method. That's cool. Do it that way. And then, what was it saying? Oh, yeah, it could be a local variable. And now down here, I want to say this dot sums dot add sum. So let's see what this does. So, I mean, what I put this to do is after I have returned from the calculator activity, that it'll populate the list with the sum that was computed in the calculator. So calculator, 3 plus 4, 7, back to main. Hey, there's 7. How did I do it again? Now I have a 4 plus 5. Oops, that's gonna blow up. It just crashed. So I gotta start over again. 4 plus 5 equals 9. To main. Calculator. 6 plus 7 equals 13. Back to main. Oh, okay, I remembered it. Nice. So 9, 13, et cetera, et cetera. So cool. Look at this. Now, not only are we passing data back, but now we are populating this list with all of our sums. That's nice. I'm going to commit that. I probably could have just done this all in one commit, I suppose. But populate the list view with the sum returned from the calendar activity. The calendar calculator activity. So this is super cool, but there's a problem with it. If I go and I very slowly delete my app. No, come on. It used to be easy. There we go. I delete I kill my app, and then I launch it again. How come I don't see my? There it is. My appointment book. Oh, my data's gone. I don't want all my data gone. I want to save my sums that I worked so hard to calculate. So now, how about we do this? How about we write out all the sums to a file and read them back in again when the application starts. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to say when we add a new sum, we're going to delete the toast. Don't think we need that anymore. We know it works. And I am going to say write sums to file. So, one of the really cool things about Android is that it's written in Java and it has all the important parts of the Java APIs. The things that we've been working with the entire course are available to you inside your Android application. So things like File API and the readers and the writers, all that good stuff is inside, is available to you in Android. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get a new file called sums file. And we need to import file apparently. Yes, Java.io file, our old friend, right? Been using it since project 2. There is actually there's another file that I want, which is the data directory. And there is, well, okay, Android applications run in an operating system. There's a file system there, and you can get access to files in that file system. And so it's going to be in the data dir. And so the sums file is going to be a new file in the, let's see here. The parent is going to be data directory. And then the name of it is just going to be sums.txt. And then now we're going to do what we know how to do. Get a, let's use a print writer. Oops. Print writer equals new, new print writer around a new file writer from the file that we want, which is the sums file. And yep. And now we want to add, oh, let's see here. Yeah, let's add a catch clause. And if we get an IO exception, then we will make a toast. I should have kept that toast line above. And then while writing, oops, context. No, that's still this. The text is a long one here. And it's going to be while writing sums. And we'll just say E. Sure. Oops. No, it's not super happy with something. Oh, that's really? Wait a second, what's going on here? Code is like all misformatted. Nice. Okay. It doesn't look like here. Oh yeah, it needs one more. This, okay, now it's happy, but now it is complaining as an empty try block. Okay, cool. Okay, so here we're just going to then say we're going to get all of our sums. So let's see here. This dot sums dot. How do I get all of them? Can I iterate over them? Get item ID. Get. There's no nice way to iterate over these. Maybe there's not. Okay, maybe there's not. Fair enough. Okay, so let's see here. Or int I equals 0 while I less than this dot sums dot size. You count? Sure. Couldn't call the size. And then I'm going to say pw.println of this dot sums dot get item ID, get item. There we go. Get item at index I. That's why I typed it. Great, it's going to write everything up to the file, and there'll be an auto close. And oh, I probably want to do a flush too. Auto flush here. I think that's the right place. Yep. And then I'm just going to print them all out to the file, and that should be good. Let's give it a try. So let's launch it again. So now when I display the calculator, I create a sum and I send it back, it should write it to a file. Five plus 6 equals 11. Back to main. Okay, it added main here. Now let's go look at the file system. Sorry, where now one of these, I don't know what I call it. Oh yeah, device manager. Now somewhere here, there ought to be a way to view the file system. Nope, how do I do that? Here's the emulator. View move mode to the toolbar. Device frame zoom controls. Need to dock it back in. And it's not a device manager though. No, I don't think so. Cold boot, view details. No, oh wait, was it Device Explorer? I wonder why you can't do that. All right, somewhere here. There used to be. I'll let me see if I can find it by searching. See here. Browse file system. What's that called? In browser. Device file explorer. notifications. Device Explorer, yeah. There we go. Okay. That wasn't there before, right? Oh, whatever. It's there now. Okay, great. So then here I am. I'm looking at my emulated phone. It's the Pixel 5 33. Why I walk away from the microphone? The microphone's everywhere. And look, I can see the file system now. And if I go to, is it the data? Is it, oh, I can never remember where the darn thing is. Can I search for it? No, but here's what I can do. I can debug it. So I will hide the Device Explorer for now. Let's get rid of this stuff over here. And I will set a breakpoint right here. Oops, right here. And now I'm going to debug it. Oops, wait for debugger. Unstopped. Yeah, I'm going to undock this because it's too small for me. There you go. Display calculator. 4 plus 6. 6 equals 10. Return to main. Good. Now here I am in the debugger. And what is the file that I'm looking for? Okay, data directory sums file. Data user 0 blah 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 sums.txt. Oh yeah, good point. Every Android application on the device is run as its own user, which actually makes a lot of sense, right? Each user is protected from the other user, so this kind of makes sense that it leverages the underlying file system permissions to keep apps isolated, which is what you want, right? You don't want one app to be able to see the files created by another app. Okay, nice. So let's go, and now let's go into the Device Explorer. Well, actually, let's go find the thing. So it was data user 0, and then edupdx ES410J. Goodness, there we go. At the bottom, and then look at all this stuff. Oh, and here's sums.txt. That's cool. Okay, so let's run this and just continue here. And now we can open up sums.txt, downloading it from the device. Oh, look, it has a value of 10, which is the value of our in our counter here. And so let's put in another one. Let's do 5 plus 7 equals 12. Back to main. We'll just stop here the debugger and then continue on. And now if we download our sums.txt again, we'll see it's got 10 and 12 in it. So, I mean, look at what we did, right? We use APIs that we've been using for the entire course, essentially, here in our Android project to write a file to disk. So here's where we write to disk. Similarly, I'm also going to want to, when we populate the list here, I want to read sums from disk, from file. What did I call it? Yeah, read sums from file. Create method here. And now similarly, let's see here. I want to, I'm just going to refactor this into a method called get sums file. Oh, nice. Okay. Nice. And so now up here, I'm going to do something very similar. So I'm just going to copy this code here. Copy all this code. Why not? And I'm going to put it up here. And I'm going to say, so instead of, well, I'm going to say, well, reading file, sums file. Oops. Oh, we're adding sums, yes. While reading sums. Here, now we're going to say, Some line equals, oh, actually, sorry, I don't want a print writer, I want buffered reader. Buffered reader. And it's gonna be BR and equals new buffered reader, new file reader. There is no true here. And I want file reader, not file writer. Nice, nice, nice. I'll just do read line. And then the sum that we read will be integer %. Of the sum line. And now I want to say this dot sums dot add the sum. I don't need it anymore. Cool. And so now when I rerun my program, hey, it has 10 in it. Why did it have 12, I wonder? Oh, I know why, because I only read one line of it. Duh. Yeah, that would do it. So let's see here. For string sum line. There's gotta be a better way to do this. Oh, there you go. Sum line equals this, while sum line not equals null, sum line equals big line. There we go. Now we'll try that again. But oh my gosh, look how easy this is to like just debug and iterate because the Android emulator is really fast and Android Studio is super smart. Well, the Android tools are super smart about only recompiling and redeploying, the right things, the right time. And look, there they are. They're both there, 10 and 12. And so now when I go and I add a third one, I'll do 7 plus 7 equals 14. Oops, 2. Goes back to main. Now I got 14 there. And now when I delete or when I kill the app, very slowly, very gently. Yes, there you go. And now when I start it up again, I got all 3 again because they were persisted to disk. So now look what we've done. We have added the ability to write our sums to a file and read it from disk. Go ahead and check in that code. And any questions? Persist the sums to a file. Change or fix my spelling. Priests, no, persist. Persist. Now I will commit. And push. Next. Okay. I think that was that part. There's one more thing I want to show. And actually, I want to look at this in the assignment. Careful, things are going to get really white. Okay. Let's go back to the assignment, which I assigned last week. So there's one other thing that we do in our Android project, and that is we need to use our flight and our airline, sorry, geez, flight and airline, one class, appointment book and appointment, our text number, our text parser, all that kind of stuff. And that needs my code. That depends on my code, and we didn't add a dependency on my code yet. So here in the second page of the assignment, there is a little section, I'll make it a little bigger, that talks about how you can, well, first of all, you need to copy your code into the new Android project, and you need to add a dependency on my code so that you can reference the abstract classes and stuff. So let's go back to Android, and this is what the app build/Gradle. So we will go to project view. Notice I'm in project view, not Android view, right? So we can look at the app build. Oops, that's not what I want. It's build.gradle. Build.gradle. It's more with feeling. There we go. You can use a project structure dialogue. Great. Okay. Good to know. So welcome to Gradle. What I'm looking for is the dependencies. Nice. And here under implementation, oh, interesting. Can I just straight up do this? It looks like you probably need to change the, oops. What doesn't it like? Use version catalog instead. Just fix it for me. Yay. And now it, oops. Well, that's interesting. It's gonna work. Gradle files have changed. Let's sync the Gradle and see if it finds it. Well, looked okay. Okay. Gradle.build does not like this line. Are you using plain old quotes or did you copy and paste from the PDF? I think the PDF puts in fancy quotes. Copy and pasted. Okay, please. Yeah, I had to go. Yeah, I did it really quickly. I should have pointed that out. I had to. Yeah, let's. Ugh. Okay, I'm going to go back to the way I understand why it wants me to use a library, but I don't want to use a library. And we're going to replace that with what was pasted, and then oh, that's two implementations. I'm going to just put in plain old quotes here. Yep, and I only need one implementation. Yeah, I'm going to try that. Okay, good. Yeah, sorry, PDFs. You know, I mean, it looks so nice, but it wasn't formatted correctly. That's my fault. Okay, so now I believe I have dependency on my code. So now what I can do is I'm going to go over to my code here, and what is this? Right theme. I don't remember that being there before, but anyway. Oh, I wonder if that was created when I did the Kotlin stuff. Now I'm going to create a new class, and I'm going to call it appointment. You'll of course copy your stuff in. Yes, I would like to add to that. And I want to make sure that it extends abstract appointments. Abstract appointments. Oh, good. It finds it. Super sweet. And let's see, it's probably saying there's a bunch of methods need to be implemented. So I will do that. Sure. All that good stuff. And yeah, get return. Okay, null. Well, yeah, sure. And then get time string, you know, begin, and just doing simple stuff. And description, I think I want to put this in a field, and I'll show you why in a second. And oops, I want this to be final, so I initialize it in the constructor. Nice. And now just to demonstrate that I can use this class, I'm going to do the following. Just as a demonstration, I'm going to go to my main activity, sure. And when I get a sum that I care about, in addition to like writing to a file, I am going to create an appointment. Actually, no, I'm just going to create an appointment. Equals new appointment. And like, what am I going to call it? I'm going to call it, I was going to say, got some of the sum that was passed in. And I'm going to put it in a toast. And I'm just going to send in to the toast. I'm going to say, I'm just going to put in the appointment, .toString. So appointment, and then toString. This will be a long toast. I like long toast. Okay, so then. It's building everything, probably needs a little extra work because of the new dependency. Doing a lot of extra work apparently. What the build is doing. There we go. Now it's launching it again. Yeah, display calculator. And I'll do 8 plus 8 equals 16. So watch for a toast. Goes back. There's a toast that's got some 16 from begin to end, which is the toString of the appointment. The bottom line here, and what I'm looking to demonstrate, is that this is how you use the appointment code that you've written since day one in the Android application. You can just copy and paste your implementations in, but you'll need to add that dependency in order to get the superclasses, the code that you inherit from that I wrote, the things like the appointment book interface and appointment book and all that kind of good stuff. So I'm going to check that in, and that is the end of everything I wanted to show you today. So add a dependency Dave's code, and use an appointment in the Android app. So I just want to review. Oh, there's that pi again, because I probably keep hitting Option P too early. But anyway, so we did a lot tonight. We took what was a simple one screen calculator that added 2 numbers, added another activity, moved the calculator over to there, added some navigation in between the two where you can display the calculator and where you can go back. That work okay? Yeah, got 0. Okay. Then we showed how you can pass data back and forth with an intent. And then we saw how you can use a list view, which is backed by an array adapter, to display a list of the sums. And then we saw how easy it was to write to a file using the Java I/O APIs that you've been using for a long time. And then we saw how to add the ability to use the appointment book classes in the Android application. I think that's all the pieces parts that you need to do a lot of your project, or at least kind of the unique Android stuff. But what else can I tell you? What else would you like to know? What questions are still lingering in your minds? Yeah, well, yeah. Asking questions during the week is great. I encourage you to get started on this soon. I know final exams are coming up, including our own. But yes, please don't hesitate to speak up if you are feeling stuck or confused. Oh, where was the writing to file function called? I missed it. Yep, fair enough. Oh, can we turn it in next Friday at the latest? Yes, if you need another day or two, fine, but yeah, I'm gonna be grading it Friday night and over the weekend. Yeah. So write sums to file is called on activity result. So basically when we return from the other activity and we pass the sum back in the intent, that's when we write the sums to a file. Oh, yes, yeah, and it basically writes the file from scratch each time. Doesn't bother appending it. Nothing wrong with that. Hold all the data. Yep. Nice. Okay, then. I'll just give another moment or two for people with questions. Okay. Well, so tonight is, oh, so bright. Tonight is the final mob programming kata. Raise of hands, or please indicate somehow in the chat or in Zoom if you'd like to stay and do some mob programming. I'm not sure who else needs to mob. So Aiden, Natalie, are you staying?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, 2, okay. Yep, and yeah, if you've already done your 2 and you are done for tonight, don't feel like you're doing any more about programming, absolutely fine. 2 is what was required, and always have people stay. Okay. Good deal. Okay, then. So let's take 7 minutes. So at 7:45, let's reconvene. Anybody who would like to mob, we'll mob remotely. Aiden and oh, good, glad you found it helpful, Sharon. And then yeah, we'll do some mob programming, and if you don't mind, I'll be part of the mob too. So since it's 2 of you, we'll figure this out together. Let's see how it goes. Awesome.
Honestly, I think that means they work together on
Every project?
3 out of 4.
Oh, there you go. You're in sync. It'll be good. So yeah, but now that I'll be in the mix, who knows what it's gonna be like. I don't know if anybody wants to watch and listen, feel free, but also feel free to be done for tonight. And thank you for joining. I will see everybody virtually next week on Zoom. In the meantime, we'll chat on Slack. Bye now. When will I post the lecture? I'll post the lecture as soon as I can. I'll try to do it later tonight.